Good evening, everyone. It's so nice to see all of you, all these old friendly faces that me and my father got to know and share a lot of memories together. It's been many years. I can't even count. First of all, I'd like to just ask for your, forgiveness. There's so many things, going through my mind at this time. I couldn't really just put them in, in the right order. It's challenging for me. At the same time, we have Korean congregation. This is a bilingual church. So sometimes you will hear me speaking Korean, go back and forth. And so I'd like to ask for your understanding. But first of all, just thank you so much for just being here at this time, in this place, where my father and my mom, our family, worship together and worshiping God. This really means to a lot for us. So again, thank you all. 한국말 하겠습니다. 이렇게 같이 저희 가족과 이런 시간을 같이 보내주셔서 너무나 감사드리고 오늘은 보시다시피 미국 손님들이 많이 오셨어요. 그래서 조금 더 영어 위주로 이렇게 하고 제가 좀 필요하면은 한국말도 좀 섞을 텐데 한국분들 좀 이해해 주시고 같이 이런 셀러브레이션에 같이 참여해 주셨으면 감사하겠습니다. Before I want to kind of speak about my dad, I want to first introduce these four gentlemen who are about to, give eulogy. I'd like to ask the four gentlemen to just make yourself, over here, and just to, and one there are. We have, after my father retired, then we decided that it was important to have a consistent leadership, for our Pasaryu system, which is the martial art system that my father founded 50 years ago. Well, even going further than that. And these gentlemen were selected because they are, truly man of integrity and utmost respect and humble, and it shows so much gratitude and loyalty, for my father and for everybody involved with the Pasaryu. And of course, there are many other people who are just as worthy, but these gentlemen, masters, did step up, and they've been carrying the torch for my father, and I'm so very grateful for these four gentlemen here. And then one couldn't be here because of her Master Sarah Hadkes, because of her previous engagement, but I'd like to give them the floor so that they can talk to you guys and then just share their wonderful experience they had with my father. So I'll let them, let them come up, introduce themselves, and then I'll go ahead and decide talk after they speak. Mr. Anthony Slayton.
Good evening, everyone. Like I said, my name is Anthony Slayton. I'm from Trenton, Tennessee, about an hour and a half drive from here. And it's an honor. I just can't express enough how much of an honor it is to be able to be allowed to speak tonight in front of everyone and, share my memories of Master Rhee. And like I'm sure everyone has memories. And, I wish we had time to get everyone to come up here and share their memories of Master Rhee. But like I said, once again, it's been an honor. But I first came to know Master Master Rhee back in 1986. I came out as a blue belt, and I could tell from the moment I met him that he was a person that put me before him. And I mean, no matter how many times I needed to work out or train or work on katas, he was always willing to stay over after class and work on katas and everything, and just spend time with me and making me feel like number one. And I mean, for somebody for his stature to give me that kind of attention, it was mind blowing. Like I said, I would travel down and he would just, like I say, stay over after class and just work and work and work with me. And I really appreciated that. One morning I stopped by and we was on our way to where we was coming to Memphis, and I was in shorts and I was in a cutoff shirt, and I just decided to go in and watch class, just sit down there just to visit and everything. When Master Rhee saw me back there, and he come back and he goes, "Oh, you come train?" And I said, "No, I'm just here to watch today, you know." He said, "Oh, no." He said, "Time is valuable." He said, "You need to train." I said, "Son." So I got in front of class in shorts and a cutoff shirt and feeling way out of place. But he, like I say, it was an honor to be there that day too, and be able to teach and everything. One night we were working we were going through our basics, and we was all doing high blocks and low blocks, and just the same stuff we all were doing in our blocks and our inner basics. And I remember doing a high block one time, and he walked behind me, and he just adjusted my wrist just a little bit, and that let me know that, hey, we're all, we're striving to be perfect. We're never going to be perfect, but he was letting me know that there's still room for me to grow and to work and just try to train and get better and better, and I really appreciate that. I think well, it wasn't funny at the time. It's kind of funny now. I went to class one night, and Master Greg Patrick had just learned Taki Kwan. And so at the end of class, Master Rhee said, "You want to demonstrate?" I said, "Sure." So I went with him, and if y'all know where the palm heel strikes are at, well, the other side's supposed to block. Well, I didn't block. And I caught 2 palm heel strikes in the ribs, and it took my breath, and I was like, he said, "Oh, you block next time." I said, son. So that was my most fond memory of him. But like I say, it's just an honor to be able to speak and share my memories. And one other thing, Master Rhee, he loved big get-togethers, as y'all well know. Every year he wanted to have a grant test one time a year, and that was, his kind of time to fellowship with everyone. And I think he would really be pleased tonight at the turnout, and that everybody showed up and came out tonight and supported him. And but I just want to say thank you, son.
Good evening. I promise I won't be before you long. Master Rhee was like a father to me. I was believe it or not, I was a little skinny kid. Not the man you see before you now. I was skinny. I think I was on one of the videos, but I came into the main school back in, I think, 1986, 87, and started training down on Poplar. And like Master Slayton said, he always made time for you no matter what you wanted. He gave it himself. And years later, I hit a low point in my life. But my refuge, my salvation, was being able to come and train with Master Rhee. And he was just always a teacher. Always. In what he did, what he said, and how he carried himself. And in the later years, he gave me the opportunity to serve on the PAC. I was honored. Didn't expect it, didn't ask for it. But he must have thought enough of me to give me that responsibility. Sorry. It was just a lovable person. And I want to say to Yong, you were a good son. Because we watched you take care of your father. You gave him yourself, and I thank you for sharing him with me. Son.
they said to keep it short, but I was always bad about following orders. All I have to say is I'm glad there's not a metal detector out there, not because of the guns and knives you brought in, but because of the artificial knees and hips. You could hear them clanking everywhere. So anyway, I'll keep it about the length of a sparring match, okay? And keep time. We're not going to stop the clock. If I step out of bounds, just I trust no one brought any bean bags to throw it at me when I run over. So, tell me if you recognize any of these sayings. Chase one rabbit. Son. Don't have a big head. Don't let your head blow up. Don't have a balloon head. That was a good visual. I'll never forget that one. Or its cousin. Don't be puffed up with the bigger chest. Okay? So, and he would always say, and he would always end it with, inside, you'd be a tiger or a lion. Outside, you'd be a lamb. So, y'all remember that one? In all my years here with Pasha Rue, I never really remember anyone taking the animal named Lamb, Mr. or Miss Lamb. It would have been a good one. So, okay, so I started with Master Rhee. I lived in Midtown. There had been a robbery in the neighborhood, and another assault another day, and I was newly married 1 year. And I thought, I cannot take care of myself, much less my wife. So every day I would see that little ad in the newspaper. Do you remember it? I think it was in the sports section. It said, Kang Rhee, karate taught as an art. And every day, I think long before that year, I noticed it, and I always dreamed. Because I love Kung Fu movies, right? Didn't y'all? Well then, when all this happened in the neighborhood, I cut that out. And I lived right up the street from 1911 Poplar Avenue. And I went up there and I walked in. There was an attractive young lady behind the desk. And I said, I'm interested in taking lessons. She said, I'll see if Master Rhee is available. And so a few minutes later, Master Rhee came out. Aye! Aye! Shook my hand, come on back. So, parted the beads in the doorway, dangling beads, right? And I said, sign me up. We got dangling beads, we got oriental characters on the wall, this is it, this is a real thing. So, and sure enough, I signed on the dotted line, 2 years. I'm not sure I told my wife I was going up there, by the way. So, I went home. Where you been, honey? Well, I went and visited the karate school up the street. You did? Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe taking some lessons there. You're thinking about taking some lessons? Yeah? Well, have you done anything about it? Well, I told him I'd come back for 2 years. What did you say? 2 years. So, that night, she became a karate wife. You know, the tournaments and the coming home with broken noses and feet and fingers and all that stuff. And that was December of 1981, right about the last week. And so that was almost 38 years ago. Today is our wedding anniversary, 39 years. And unfortunately, she couldn't come tonight, but she deserves a trophy for sticking with it that long. Master Rhee was always so encouraging, and you know, he always said, you get your black belt, you start a school. You get your black belt and you teach, I don't care if you open up across the street, you need to start a school. I waited a little longer than first degree, but I finally started a school. It was in a gymnastics center. Lots and lots of children. Lots of children. And Master Rhee, I would go in for my training at the main headquarters. Hey, Master Sabanim Crane, you are so good with children. Right away, I thought, he doesn't have very good discernment skills. I would rather herd cats, really. Feral cats. With rabies. But that's the way he was, and he encouraged me, and all of a sudden I thought, I can do this, and I did, and all of a sudden I liked teaching the children. So that's the way he was with everything. It was always an encouragement. I'll never forget the day at the old school, he came into class and said, it's all about love. He goes, I've been wrong in the past. I've been hard. He said, it's all about love. And I want to reconcile with everybody. I've invited everyone, that I've ever wronged. I just want them to know it's all about love. Wow, that was a complete shift. I mean, not from his real inner character, but just, the way things were. And the old days were great. If I can just share it, you'd go into the main hall. It was huge, concrete floor with a carpet on the top. There'd be a heavy bag hanging at the north end. Robert Blackstone would be kicking it. His dad would be there. 2 minutes, go! Kick. How about the last 30 seconds? It'd be more like, but John wouldn't let up. And then the sparring at the end of every class, practically. And Ernest leading us all, or Master Carruthers leading us all through the sparring. See that scar? Anyway, great days. I had the singular honor of not only being a student. Have I gone over my 2 minutes? No beanbags are flying. I had the singular honor of not only training at the main school and being a student for Master Rhee, I was his plumber also. It was a special thing. And the only problem was he lived on the other side of Egypt. He lived in Maywood. That's right. Does everyone know Maywood? It's where we used to jump off the 100-foot tower into the water when we were 5 or 6 years old. Well, only winding roads and dead-end coves that only a few seasoned trappers knew how to find their way in and out of there. But Master Rhee was always so cordial. Of course, he took his shoes off before you went in the house, even your work boots. You had to work on anything there. So I've had a nice history with all of the Rhees, and I really am so thankful for it. Let's see. The only other thing I have to share are the wonderful time I've had with everyone here, that I remember your face and your name, and even if I didn't remember your face and your name, the training. It's like the hymn we sang, and the one church, no matter where you are in the world, if you're a Christian, you recognize these hymns and you can sing them. I could get up here and say, let's all sing the old 100, and we would all burst into our own language, but we would know what it was. Well, it's like that for training in Pasaroo. I can go to any Pasaroo school anywhere, in the world, and we have some around the world, and I can do a 2-person kata, Dong Kwang Kong Bongs, Pocky Kwans, and it's just like we're old friends. And that's the beautiful thing about our style and our system. And our style is all about the katas, by the way, and don't get me preachy on that. So, I'd like to relate a quick story that Dave Priga told me. Dave Priga, Master Hawk up in North Carolina, he would come down to train with Master Rhee, and Master Rhee would always give him business instructions, because he was all about being a success. If we did all of those things, like chase one rabbit and not have a big head, you would be a success, right? It was always be a success, and you will contribute to society was the other thing. He was always had a big heart for. Well, Dave went in, sat down with Master Rhee, and Master Rhee told him about, some nice business things, and he said, come out here into the dojo. And so they went out, and Dave thought, all right, I'm going to learn some good technique and some kata. And Master Rhee let him come back here. And so he took him back to the women's training area, women's dressing area. You smell? Yes, sir. Okay. Come over here. He took him into the men's training area. You smell that, son? He opened up the cabinet. He said, for free, for free. Dave said, son, it was a case of Febreze. He loved it. And the carpets are always great. So his last bit of practical advice for me, and it was always something I never forgot. I think it was the first year I was in the main school. It was, whenever you go to a restaurant, you go to the bathroom first. If it's dirty, you leave. That was it. He was very practical. Son.
Thank you all for having all of us speak. I'd just like to say to the Rhee family that, Master Rhee was a lot of things to a lot of people. And, every person I ever talked to, or every, nowadays, Facebook comments you read, you hear all these people that say, he was this to me, and we had this special bond, this special relationship, almost like they're better than anybody else in the world. I'll let you in on a secret. For you and me, it was. We all had this special relationship because he was able to take a person and just make them feel special. I think that was, if I had to name his gift, there's so many, but his gift was that he could just take time, as the brothers have said, to take time for you, make you feel just like you mean something. And he was not a false kind of man. So when he made you feel special, you were actually special. And that's his specialty above anything, I think. So, but again, my name is Jackie Smith, and I know many of you have been training with Master Rhee and have a relationship with him for a long, long time. And my relationship, or getting to meet him, was back in the middle 80s. And I had been a brown belt in another style of martial art, and I was met up with a gentleman that had a school, one of Master Rhee's branch schools. And I thought, man, I like this better, and this is great. So I started, working out with it, and this was a branch school, so I'd never met Master Rhee, but I saw his picture, and I knew that's the man. And so when it finally came time I got to meet him, it was pretty neat. I come this little short guy, but I tell you, after you met him, you didn't see his height anymore. it's like he's up here, because you just knew he was very genuine. There's nothing fake about him, and just genuine. And sometime later, I'm trying to keep it real short, sometime later I changed jobs. I moved to the Memphis area. And the first time I came into the studio after we had moved to the Memphis area, I walk in, and he comes out, "Oh, Master Falcon." And he says, "Warm welcome home." And I'm like, I just felt like I just walked into my house, It's like a house I never knew I always wanted, never knew I had. And this is a warm welcome home. I mean, what a greeting. Who greets you that way? It just had a very way of making you feel so special. My only funny story I'll tell, and I'll try to be very quick about things. I lived, before when I trained, I lived a couple hours at least away. about 2.5. And so on Saturdays, sometimes I drive up. I get there early one Saturday. I thought, I'm going to get there early. I might get the chance to talk to him, you know. Well, I got there early, and I was the only one there besides him. And guess what I got to do? I got to go clean the mirrors. I said, boy, I don't get here early anymore. You know, so I got to clean the mirrors. But I felt good, you know. I felt good about it. Anyway, if you would allow me to share just something else about his character that is totally away from martial arts, but it means everything to everything I think that he taught. And so again, we've heard some stories of the old days, how tough and rough he was and all that, and he still was. But when I began to, especially when I moved to the Memphis area and was able to visit him more often, there's something happened one day I was there, and he said, he came out, he told a story. And some of the family, I'm sure you know this story, and you know a whole lot more about it than I do, but here's what I know about it. Here's what he said. He said, I was in the hospital one time, I was sick. And he said, he healed me, but I didn't know who he was. He said, but now I know who he is. And from that time forward, every time I visited, hardly any time I visited, especially on a Saturday morning, he wouldn't say something about the Lord being first in his life.
Amen.
And what I then began to see, some parallels with what he was already doing with his life and in the martial arts. He had a saying, sun makes evil shadows disappear. You don't know how many times over the years I've had to explain to some of the people back home in Mississippi that does not mean we're bowing and worshiping the sun. but Master Rhee began to embody that saying, and if we could picture the sun as being the light of the world. And there's something, I'll read a little verse here to you from the book of John. And I'm sorry I can't say this in Korean, but hopefully someone can help. From the book of John, there was a man sent from God whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He said, he was in the world, and the world was made by him. Made by him, the world. I hope you can believe that today. He came unto his own, and his own received him not, but as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. Now, if we stopped right there, if we stopped that verse right there, all of a sudden we say to ourselves, those that received him, it almost like gives us some power to do something. But to see, the thing is, that verse doesn't stop right there. It continues on. It says, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man. So it just steals it right away from us as men and women that think we just got some kind of ability that just takes it right out of your hands. That's a good thing. Because man messed things up a long time ago.
That's right.
But it says it's not born of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. It goes on, I'm going to skip over to one more verse here in the book of John in 17. There's a time when the Lord had been teaching his disciples. And he's getting ready to leave this world. He's about to go to the cross and do something that no one else could do but him. And he speaks and he says, in the glory which thou gavest me, he's praying to God, I have given them that they may be one, even as we are in them, and thou in me, or even as we are one in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one. And that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast lovest me as thou hast loved me. Father, I will that they also, whom thou hast given me, be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory, which thou hast given me, for the lovest before the foundation of the world. Can you imagine a loving God that did something we can't wrap our heads around the idea of before the foundation of the world? That's our problem. But see, the good thing is God, He doesn't rely on man. He's not bound by our understanding. But He will that the ones He loved will be with Him. And I can assure you, as well as I'm standing here, that the husband of Mrs. Rhee, the father of Yong Rhee, the grandfather of these beautiful women, the friend to these brothers in the Lord, the instructor to many of us that sit here who cherish our relationships with Him, I can assure you, He is where the Lord willed Him to be.
Amen.
And that's a glorious thing. I miss Him, you miss Him. But I would not will that He be back here tonight.
That's right.
Because He's where I want to be someday. But His ability then to take these understandings and begin to change it and show each of us that has a relationship with Him how He, Master Rhee, lived His life, putting the Lord first, His family next, His extended family next. He had His life and priorities in order. And I love that about Him. And we'll miss Him. But I know He's with the Lord, and I pray the Lord will be with all of you. And I pray that you'll take this message and take the final teaching and instruction, the final lesson I think that Master Rhee would want any of us to know is that the Lord is number one. And if you'll put Him number one in your life, you don't have, see, you can still do karate. You can still pursue things. But put the Lord in it. And I think that's what He taught.
Amen.
Thank you.
Friends, this is how I envision, this place and time to be. And, when I became a Christian, sophomore year of my college, my parents weren't Christians. And, as I got more deeper into my faith, I was deeply troubled that, my father, who's a very strong-willed person, as you all know, and he, he has this deep philosophy, ingrained, and self-reliance. And I couldn't really see a way to reach him. At the same time, even my mother, she's a pretty strong-willed person too, I should say. And yet, I prayed, and I persevered, and I persevered with you, some of you, sharing that I wanted, my dad to have what I have. And, to me, I'm standing here and sharing this, and sharing with all of you that in my wildest dream, that, we would have this opportunity. It could be a very sad moment, but yet this is time of hope, time of reflection, a time of gratitude. That sometimes I feel that I can't tell the difference between being in the church and being in dojo, the fellowship that we have. And sometimes, I'm sorry to say to our pastor here, but I think, in our dojo, we have better fellowship, better respect, better love for one another. Why is that? And I think the reason why that happened was my father displayed it. And he lived it, he demonstrated it. He's not a big talker. And I think that's one of the reasons that why he was able to connect with somebody like Elvis. And, I don't think, the Elvis they became friends because my father can kick. I think it's their basic sharing of their goodness. And I truly believe that. They come from nothing. My father came to the United States with nothing. And even Elvis would, attest to that. Even if he's here, then he will share that with you guys. I'm sure of it. And it's amazing that, I was sharing with my mom that I just kind of found out a couple of days ago that Elvis and my father died on the same day. Isn't that really wild? 아셨어요? 방금 저희 아버님이랑 엘비스랑 같은 날에 돌아가셨어요. 그게 예사로 보이세요? 아닙니다. 뜻이 있습니다. 저희 아버지는 삶에 뜻이 있었어요. 메시지가 있었어요. 여러분들도 삶에 그런 의미가 있을 수 있습니다. 이걸 보시고 다들 보셨죠? 이 많은 사람들이 같이 와서 한국에서 오신 아무것도 가져오지 않은 분이 이런 많은 미국 사람들 여기 온 사람들은 그냥 아주 극소수예요. 한 몇천 명, 몇만 명을 가르쳤습니다. 아버지께서는. And I just want to share that my father is not a perfect person. He was not a perfect father to me. Because, first of all, I never met my father until I was 12. And, when I saw him, I was scared to go to karate because I was not very athletic. And I told my dad, I asked my dad, can you train me at home? And then and then he says, no, it's okay. But some of you share that he was such a wonderful encourager. And a lot of times some of these people are very gracious to the people outside, and they're not that well, that way to their own children. My father was exactly the same. Yeah, he was very encouraging to me. And I didn't know I could do this. And he made me, And still, I had this really like a love and hate relationship with karate, Pasaju, because it's such a pressure. Because I am Master Rhee's son. Oh, Master Rhee's son. Okay. Let me see how. Oh yeah, his sidekick is not that good. Right. And then and then I'll look at Robert Blackstone's sidekick, and then he's, and I'll be so. Sometimes it's not coming from other people. I'm sure you guys didn't really say that, but it's just maybe something I don't know. But, But it's not, there was a lot of pressure, internal pressure, that I had to live up to because, my father had such a reputation, and I had started so late, relatively late, and it was a lot of pressure, and sometimes I just wanted to run away. But to me, what really saved me was when I became a Christian and received Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. That's what saved me. That set me free.
Amen.
And that's true freedom. But another thing I really want to share to you guys is that I want to, God, when you talk about God's love, it's being unconditional, right? And I experience it in my own household. And my mother, she gave me unconditional love. 어머니, 저한테 조건이 없는 사랑을 주셨어요. 아시죠? My father gave me unconditional love. So it was easy for me. It was easy for me to comprehend God's love. Because if I need something, I go to my parents. Hey, Dad, I need an Apple computer. Oh yeah? Well, he didn't really give me the computer right then and there. Same way with God. God doesn't do that. He let me collect my allowance. So I would collect halfway, and then I'll meet you halfway. And I think that's pretty good parenting, don't you think so?
Yeah.
And so, he could have given it to me right then and there, but he didn't. That's one of the things that, I really experienced. And just to share that, and because of that, I became a Christian. And then I was able to, after 5 years of my, prayer, my father accepted Christ.
Hallelujah.
And I clearly, and then with my mom, they're walking into the church together, and then, we're sitting together and worshiping together. To me, that is the, one thing that my proudest moment for me. It's a very challenging time. Nothing that I'm sharing is easy, but if it's easy, it's probably not worth, pursuing.
That's right.
Right? And again, I apologize because I just have so many things I want to share. This is, but how excited and how grateful I am that, and to be able to share this thing, with all of you. And some of you sitting here, we share prayers together, and maybe some of you we haven't, but I want to have more opportunities from now on, to really open up, and then and just understand what what my father's message is, the why he came to to the United States, and why he taught karate. It's all for the glory of God. All for glory of God.
Amen.
Nothing else can take that away. And that's why he was able to meet Elvis. And that's why he was able to reach so many people. And just, and truly influence so many people. And look at, my father's talent is quite unique. you saw some of those artwork he has done. He created all those the advertising and all these patches by himself. I never seen any Taekwondo masters take on that kind of detail, attention to detail. Have you? And wow. At the same time, he was so humble. And how amazing, it is now that we can truly celebrate his life. And before I forget, I just want to take my this time. I'm so sorry. Some of you are getting kind of long, but I really want to this time honor and give my credit to my mom. And she, last 5 years, of caring for my father's illness, it was tremendously hard. You would not believe some of the things that she had to go through, and she did it, and she leaned on God for His help. So, 언니 좀. Could you give her a hand?
Yeah.
She is the reason. My mom is truly, she is a great example for me because if my mom didn't come to the United States to join with my father would not be the same person. I guarantee you. And this allowed me to have a wonderful life in the United States and then share that with my family. And I just also want to ask, I want to kind of give thanks to my wife, who gave me strength, and then just to raise my two daughters, and they also gave me tremendous love and affection and support in order for me to be a good son. It's all complete circle, and that's how God intended, how family should be. And I really want to live that out. Not outwardly, but inwardly, within the family, and allows times like this so that I can share with you guys. This is not me bragging, but I'm just sharing that what God has done, to my family, so that we're able to be fully sustained, even in the times of this tremendous pressure and trial and difficulty, that we're so glad that we had full dependence on God and full reliance on His strength. And that was the only reason that we're here. I'm here. And that was the main message that I really want to share with you guys. And I know that when I turn around, I'll have regret that certain things that was unsaid, but let me just go ahead and close. And let me do it in Korean first and then in English. 한국 분들에게 좀 한국말로 이제 끝마치고 그리고 또 영어로 하겠습니다. 그분이 우리 과거에 계셨기 때문에 우리는 진심으로 감사합니다. 그러나 현재는 우리와 안 계셔서 당분간 슬프지만 하나님의 믿는 믿음으로 그분을 미래에 다시 만나 영생을 같이 하리라 믿습니다. 아멘. We're thankful that He's a memorable part of our past. Amen?
Amen.
Today, we're saddened that He's not with us in the present. Amen? But it is our faith in God enables to hope to meet with Him again in the future for eternity.
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you all. Love you.